Wow,
because that was Usain Bolt.
Massive, massive disappointment.
Daegu, 2011. The world's fastest man, Usain Bolt, stood at the 100-meter final start line. All eyes focused on him. At 25, he remained undefeated in championship 100-meter races since 2008 and entered as the defending world champion. The stadium buzzed with anticipation. Next to him stood Johan Blake, Kim Collins, and Walter Dix. The gun fired, Bolt jumped early. A false start, disqualified. Rule 162.7 left no room for second chances. The stadium fell silent as spectators processed what they'd witnessed. Bolt ripped off his shirt in disbelief and walked off. The track stunned. This split-second decision would haunt him for years to come. Recently, on Puma's Go Wild podcast with Colin Jackson on April 30th, 2025, Bolt finally addressed this painful moment with complete honesty. "It's my fault," he admitted, taking full responsibility for one of the most shocking moments in Olympic track history. Bolt, the triple world and Olympic champion, had dominated sprinting for years after storming to the 100-meter and 200-meter sprint double in then-world record times at the 2008 Olympics. He matched this achievement the following year at the Worlds in Berlin, setting new marks of 9.58 and 19.19 seconds. His premature exit from the blocks happened so quickly that many spectators couldn't process what they'd seen. The defending champion caused shock throughout the stadium in Daegu as he launched from his blocks well before the starter's gun. The rules were clear. Any false start resulted in immediate disqualification. Bolt made a hasty retreat after this devastating turn of events. When asked about tears, he simply responded, "Not going to happen. I'm okay." Later, he released a short statement via the IAAF website. "I have nothing to say right now. I need some time." On Puma's Go Wild podcast with Colin Jackson, Bolt finally opened up about that painful moment. He didn't sugarcoat his experience.
I think, so throughout the season, it was frustrating because I couldn't get my start together. It was on and off. I was starting good now, and then the next round I would do bad.
Bolt revealed his coach had repeatedly urged him to stop fixating on his start.
So it was something that was on my mind, and my coach kept telling me, stop worrying about your start. You will never be great at start. You'll be okay. Stop worrying. Just go and execute that you need to execute.
But on that crucial day in Daegu, Bolt couldn't quiet his mind.
I went out there, always on my mind, was get it right, get it right, get it right. That's always thinking in my head.
The pressure built until the critical moment arrived.
And for some reason, I could swear somebody said, go, and I just went. And as soon as I got our blocks, I was like, no, it was no good. You know what I mean?
What truly devastated Bolt wasn't just the disqualification, but how completely out of character his behavior had been.
I wasn't myself, because I was never that person to be thinking about something. I was always the person to be calm, enjoying the crowd. I wasn't doing that. I was just so focused on trying to get it right.
In another interview, Bolt elaborated on his mental state that season. Bolt told this on Obi-Wan podcast.
You know what I mean? As soon as I got out, I was like, what the hell did I just do? You know what I mean? I know when people are like, why do you take off your shirt? I was like, bro, I fast started by a mile. It was like he was close. It was like, so much. You know what I mean? And it was just the fact that I was in my head, worrying about if I was gonna run fast, if I was ready. And that was a lesson, you know what I mean? I learned from that moment.
The normally confident, relaxed showman had transformed into someone consumed by doubt and anxiety. This internal battle proved his undoing.
I was all in my head like, am I ready? Am I ready?
Yeah. Wow.
Because I wasn't the same person. If you watch my season, I was struggling. People were running close to me. So in my head, I was in my head. So when I got to the start, even though my coach was like, yo, you're fine.
Relax.
I could not get out of my head. You know what I mean? So
Bolt's loss at Daegu revealed something rare in elite sports, a champion's vulnerability. The man who seemed invincible had shown he was human after all. This singular mistake shifted Bolt's perspective fundamentally.
And that's what cost that year. Cost me the 100 meter that year, because I wasn't myself. So after that, I kind of sat down to myself and thought about it. I was like, you know what? That was all on me. You know what I mean? There's no one to blame or to point a finger. That was all on me. So I figured that much, and I was like, you know what? I will never let that happen again.
The theme of personal accountability runs deeply through Bolt's reflection. Unlike many athletes who might seek external justification for failure, Bolt embraced full responsibility.
A lot of people, as I took the blame at the start, a lot of people would try to find excuses like, oh, it was because of the gun, or there was noise, or it was something. No, it was all on me. I understand to take accountability for my mistakes and what I've done. And that's why I got to the level, because if I did something as a coach, you know what? It's my fault. I'll do better next time. And then I'll go fix it.
This honest self-assessment didn't just help him process the disappointment. It became central to his philosophy as a competitor and later as a role model. Speaking with Colin Jackson, Bolt expanded on this mindset.
Yeah, I've seen so many people try to push blame onto somebody else. You know what I mean? And the moment you do that, then you're defeated. Because now you'll never move forward. You know what I mean? Because if you're pointing fingers and saying, that means you're going to make the same mistake you made yesterday. Because you feel like you did nothing wrong.
While Bolt processed his shock elimination, the race continued without its biggest star. His Jamaican training partner, Johan Blake, seized the unexpected opportunity, clocking 9.92 seconds to claim gold. American Walter Dix took silver with 10.08, while veteran Kim Collins from St. Kitts and Nevis secured bronze in 10.09. The 21-year-old Blake, though sympathetic to his training partner's plight, couldn't contain his elation at his unexpected triumph. He said, "I don't think I can find words to explain it. I feel like I want to cry. I have been praying for this moment. This is all a dream for me right now. Usain Bolt has been there for me. I felt I would win the race for Bolt." Dix, a double Olympic bronze medalist, expressed surprise at the strict enforcement. "I didn't really think they were going to kick him out. How can you kick Usain out of the race?" The 35-year-old Collins questioned the rule's validity after collecting his third World Championships bronze medal. "I don't think it is right. These things happen, but you have to give people a chance," you know, the St. Kitts and Nevis athlete. "If the IAAF feel that is the right way to go for TV rights and everything, the rule will stay. As much as I want to be on the podium, tonight is a sad night for athletics." The disqualification spotlighted the contentious one-strike false start rule introduced by governing body the IAAF for the 2010 season. Previously, athletes were allowed one for a false start in the semifinals, just one day after his compatriot Cristino Hurogu suffered the same fate in the 400 meters. The International Association of Athletics Federations faced immediate pressure to reconsider the regulation. Kim Collins directly appealed for review. "I am hoping the IAAF will think about what is going on and see how the one false start rule is affecting the sport and see the pros and cons of changing it." With 3 decades of experience, Collins had witnessed multiple rule iterations and believed the current approach was deeply flawed. "I think if you give the field at least one false start, it would be a better rule, but the athletes don't make the rules." The IAAF initially defended their position. Communications Director Nick Davies stated firmly, "A rule is a rule. It is the same for everyone. Now is a moment to keep our perspective, and it is not the right moment to make changes." The organization later reinforced this stance. A sport's credibility depends on its rules, and they must also be applied consistently and fairly for all athletes.
We can get this.
Yeah, because you look good. When you had the ball out, you were looking good. Because you were pulling away from fear little by little. So I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, damn.
Usain Bolt just exposed the shocking reality behind his legendary rivalry with Michael Johnson, and it's nothing like you've heard before. His raw honesty, the fierce drive to prove doubters wrong, and the unrelenting pressure he faced paint a picture far beyond the track. From shutting down critics to making a bold stand on the podcast, Bolt's response is more intense than ever. This is a side of him you've never witnessed. The Jamaican sprinting legend, known for his typically jovial demeanor, showed a rarely seen competitive fire as he systematically dismantled Johnson's claims with both his words and his historic accomplishments. This unexpected verbal showdown between two track icons has revealed the intense rivalry and personal feelings that simmered beneath the surface of their public personas, giving fans a glimpse into the psychological warfare that exists even among the sport's greatest champions. I looked at the 200-meter world record as untouchable. That's how I looked at it, facts. When it comes to 200, I don't fear anybody, nobody. I'm ready all the time to go. You know what I mean. Remember, he was the one that said, "I couldn't break the world record," Bolt stated pointedly during the podcast, referencing Johnson's doubts about his abilities. This direct challenge to Johnson's assessment carries extra weight, considering the incredible achievements that followed.
Eating up the ground. I was like, yeah, we definitely winning this. I was like, we definitely winning this for sure. You know what I mean? So
as soon as I saw them hit the turn, I was like, damn, Blake.
Exactly.
I said, because as soon as I passed the baton, I was like, oh, we could.
Yeah.
I said, we can get this.
Yeah, because you look good. When you had the baton, you were looking good because you were pulling away from Freya little by little. So I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Bolt not only broke Johnson's supposedly untouchable 200-meter record, but absolutely shattered it. First with a 19.30-second performance at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, and then lowering it further to an astonishing 19.19 seconds at the 2009 IAAF World Championships in Berlin. The 8-time Olympic gold medalist's choice to bring up this criticism years later demonstrates how deeply Johnson's skepticism affected him and likely served as powerful motivation throughout his career. The timing of Bolt's comments is particularly interesting, coming years after his retirement, suggesting these competitive wounds remain fresh, despite his unquestionable status as the greatest sprinter of all time. The clash between these track titans represents more than just a personal dispute. It symbolizes a changing of the guard in the sprinting world that Johnson may have been reluctant to acknowledge. Before Bolt's emergence, Johnson's 200-meter world record of 19.32 seconds, set at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, stood for 12 years and was considered by many to be one of athletics' truly untouchable marks. Johnson, an 8-time world champion himself with a distinctive upright running style and gold spike shoes, had revolutionized sprinting in his era and clearly took pride in the longevity of his record. Bolt's recollection that, "Same time, I was breaking the world record. Remember they had saying, 'Yo, come on, man,' suggests a dismissive attitude from Johnson and others even as Bolt was in the process of making history. This dynamic reveals the complex emotions that can arise when new stars emerge to challenge established legends, creating tensions that extend beyond the track and into questions of legacy and historical standing within the sport."
Feel, drive, set. 2 more throws. We are pick up for. That can benefit you. Yes, you pick. Not even fractionally big.
What makes Bolt's brutal response particularly shocking is how it contradicts the public's perception of his seemingly carefree attitude toward competition. While fans grew accustomed to his pre-race antics, lightning bolt pose, and celebratory dance moves, these comments reveal a fiercely competitive internal drive that fueled his unprecedented achievements. Bolt's declaration that, "My levels over 200 meters was good, but I think because I've worked on my 200 so much craft," challenges the narrative that his success came primarily from natural talent rather than dedicated training. This insight into his mindset suggests that beneath the playful exterior was an athlete deeply committed to his craft and acutely aware of doubters like Johnson who questioned his potential. The contrast between Bolt's public persona and this glimpse of his competitive fire makes his response to Johnson all the more impactful, showing that even the most seemingly relaxed champions can harbor intense motivation from perceived slights and skepticism about their abilities.
2012, I was right beside him. When the gun went, I felt like he just took a step. He was one step ahead of me as soon as the gun went. And I'm like, how is this even possible?
Bolt's achievements are extraordinary. In addition to dominating the 200 meters, he holds world records in the 100 meters, 9.58 seconds, and as part of Jamaica's 4x100 meters relay team, making him the only sprinter to hold all 3 major sprint records. With 8 Olympic golds and 14 World Championship medals, Bolt is one of the most dominant athletes in history. His success makes his dismissal of Johnson's doubts significant. He didn't just prove his critic wrong, he changed what people thought was possible. Even after his retirement, his world records remain unbroken, proving the lasting impact of his dominance. Behind Bolt's extraordinary success and the confidence to deliver such a brutal response to Johnson lies a journey marked by important lessons from earlier failures. During an appearance on the High Performance podcast last year, Bolt revealed crucial insights into his development as an athlete. That's what helped me to get better. It's one thing I've learned. If you can be truthful to yourself, that's how you get better. Because a lot of people like to point fingers at others, he explained, highlighting the self-reflection that drove his improvement. This philosophical approach to failure and personal responsibility adds depth to the Bolt-Johnson dynamic, suggesting that skepticism from figures like Johnson may have actually contributed to the self-improvement mindset that helped Bolt achieve greatness. His willingness to look inward rather than blame external factors stands in stark contrast to his direct calling out of Johnson's incorrect assessment of his potential. The impact of this shocking exchange extends beyond just these 2 legendary athletes, touching on broader themes of respect, legacy, and the psychology of elite competition. For a sport that often appears genteel and respectful on the surface, Bolt's comments pull back the curtain on the intense competitive drive and personal rivalries that fuel record-breaking performances. His 4 Laureus World Sportsman of the Year awards and global icon status haven't erased the motivation he drew from proving doubters wrong throughout his career. Johnson, despite his own incredible achievements, now faces the uncomfortable position of having his skepticism about Bolt's potential permanently attached to his legacy. This dynamic reveals how the psychological aspects of competition can reverberate long after the actual races have ended, shaping how legendary athletes view each other and are remembered by fans. Bolt's willingness to revisit this old slight years after establishing his dominance suggests that even the greatest champions never fully forget those who doubted them on their path to great.
If I wasn't, it's good thing I'm mentally tough, because if you're not mentally tough and you see that as a person, your body is broken immediately.
Usain Bolt's bold confrontation with Michael Johnson has left the athletics world buzzing. Some are shocked by his direct criticism, while others admire the rare insight into the competitive drive behind his success. It's clear that Bolt used skepticism as motivation, showing his rivalries went beyond just those on the track. This moment adds complexity to how we view legendary athletes and their hidden motivations. What are your thoughts? Share in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more updates.
I start struggling. I can try to blame that man. Have some respect, big man. And them that upset me. Them things on me hear about it, me I say, what?
The story began at Jamaica's prestigious Racers Track Club, where coach Glenn Mills transformed raw talent into Olympic medalists. Blake joined the club in 2009, following Bolt's extraordinary success at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Under Mills's guidance, Blake achieved remarkable results, including silver medals in both 100 meters and 200 meters at the London Olympics. The training environment at Racers Track Club fostered multiple champions, with Mills's expertise playing a crucial role in developing world-class sprinters. These achievements made the recent criticism even more surprising to many in the track and field community.
Gentlemen, drive, field, drive. Set. 2 more toes. We are pick up for. That can benefit you. Yes, you pick. Not even fractionally big.
Bolt's defensive mills came with specific examples of the coach's impact. Blake is the 2nd fastest man in the world, while Warren won a bronze at the Olympics and silver at the World Championships, Bolt said.